Hello, this is Joe Jacobson with Step-by-Step Blog Building, and today we're about ready to install WordPress. After having gotten our domain name, our hosting, and then connecting the two up and changing the name servers, and then waiting a day or two for everything to propagate, we're now ready to log into our cPanel and install WordPress. So step one then is the same old thing: log into your hosting account's cPanel. And then step number two is going to look through there all the different links, icons in your cPanel and find this button called Fantastico, which is kind of a one-click stop process for loading that WordPress script, and it does it for you. You can also do it manually, which we might cover that in another video. There are some cases where you need to do that, but since you have a good hosting account, hopefully you'll find that Fantastico button, and that's just one great way to do it. Step number three then is basically just follow a couple of clicks through that process and it loads it for you. And we'll also talk a little bit about where these files and folders that it creates, where they're actually placed, so that you know where they're at. You're actually going to need to occasionally add things to those folders or files directly or manually through either your hosting file manager at HostGator or perhaps through an FTP client, which we mentioned in the last video. Step number five is then we're about ready to go over there and start working on WordPress and building our site, and we'll show you here how to access the dashboard, and that'll probably actually be the next video. So let's jump on over again and take a live look at how to install the script. Again, I've already logged in to HostGator, and you can go ahead and do the same. You can actually pause this video if you want, or you can have, as I mentioned early on in the training program, you can have two windows open on your monitor and resize them a little bit, and you can actually do this live and do it as you're watching and pausing as necessary this training video, and actually do the steps in your other window if you want to figure out to do it that way. Otherwise, let's go ahead and mosey through this right now. Scroll on down to near the bottom under Software and Services. You've got Fantastico right here. Go ahead and click on that little happy face. And that'll bring up the beginning of the process to where you can actually these one-click uploads. Here it is, Fantastico. You can see I have actually a bunch of them loaded already. But let's go over here on the left and click on WordPress. And then from there, you're going to click on New Installation. And now, in your case, you might only have one domain name, but I happen to have more than one, so I'm going to scroll down and see if I can load it on one here called newdomain.com. And actually, this doesn't even exist, but let's see if it'll still work for the purposes here of demonstrating this process. Install in directory. Actually, if you leave it like it says here, if you leave it empty, this field here, it will install it in the root directory, and that's probably just fine for most people. Okay, so otherwise you could put it into a subdirectory. Okay, so also you scroll down, the administrator, you do need to put in the username and a password. So go ahead, I guess I will actually do this and see if it can load on this sort of fake domain name here. And I'm just going to call it username. And a password, you need this to enter the protected admin area. Actually, see, these do show up, so I'll go ahead and I'm not going to keep this anyway, so I'm not too worried about sharing this because I'm going to be deleting this right after here anyways. So you can put, in this case, it's not as restrictive. I'll just go ahead and put in password. You can, by the way, you can go ahead and change these as well later on. Now down here under the configuration, you can put in a nickname if you want to. I usually never end up doing that. An email, you can look at this email and see if it's what you want. Often what it is, and probably will be, see, even for mine it defaults to this primary email that I have, that I set up. Actually, I didn't set it up. The system sets it up for you when you first create your HostGator account, and it actually is sort of a catch-all place, and it's not even an email that you can get to, I found out later. So go ahead in here and put in just some other one that you actually have created, because remember, in the last video or two we did talk about how to create your own email account, any number of email accounts inside of HostGator. Your site name, it will default to the one you selected. If you want to, this actually shows up in your WordPress dashboard. If you want to, you can just go ahead and type in actual title format your website name, okay, whatever it is. Go ahead and put that in there. Description, you can put it in if you want to. I usually never end up doing that. And then you click on Install WordPress, and let's see if it goes through. We'll find out real fast, because it is very quick. Even though it's loading up hundreds and hundreds of files, it's creating, what it does here is it creates a SQL database, which is going to be that right there, a new database, which I guess it's not going to be a problem. I'm not going to use that. You can see here I have many different databases, and you don't need to worry about that too much. You can always get help, by the way, by calling in. If you do need, for some reason, need to work on your databases, add some files, do anything in there, most likely you can call the 800 number for HostGator 24/7, and there's people there that can help you with that and just about everything else. Excuse me. And here you have finish installation. And it should finish that right up. And then you're done. Gives you a little bit of information here, creates all the files, and that's all there is to it. You can get back again to your control panel by clicking on, let's see what it says down here first. Okay, back to the overview, email the details. Okay, you can put your email in here if you want to. I never worry about that, but it'll email you all the wonderful details about the installation right to your email account inbox if you want to. Otherwise, you can click on the C panel, control panel, this little icon up here, these tools, and that will take you right on back to home if you need to do anything else. So that's all there is to it as far as installing it. Very simple. Now if you do it manually, it's quite a bit more involved, but this is working behind the scenes for you and doing it for you. So the next video then, we're going to actually, I think we're ready to actually log into WordPress, your WordPress panel, and that goes right to what they call a dashboard. Okay, so that's it for now. This is Joe Jacobson with Step-by-Step Blog Building, and we're getting ready now to log in and start building our site. All right. See you there.